Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here, and it is the high probability watch list for the week of September, I think it will be 16th. Yes, the 16th, September 16th. First part of the video, we're going to go over such a great week we had, and I want to just show you some stocks and what we're trading and how we're trading these to get these great profits. If you've been in the room at Day Trading Radio and we've been trading this week with the options, we cleaned up. We had multiple trades that were over 100% gains on our options. And I'm just going to show you the setups because we went into this really organized last week. Last week I had to put out a really great HPS watch list, and this one's going to be great too. But yet last week I really defined some good stocks. Felt really comfortable, got in them early in the week, and they just took off because of these certain patterns. So the first part of this is kind of review, so you can see exactly what are the patterns we look for, why they moved, different ways of actually approaching these, different ways of trading these. I've been trading the options a lot because a lot of these stocks are really quality names, and their price levels are up in the hundreds of dollars. So when you have something like that, it's easier to pick up some weekly calls and just trade them as you're trading the stock. And I give myself a few days because the HPS patterns usually play out within the next 5 days. So if you give yourself a couple weeks on those options, you usually get the move that week and you get some follow through. So you'll see as we continue to educate and kind of talk about these setups, you'll see how well they are and how they work. So let's get going right here. Right now the market is open. It's a Friday. Paul's on the mic at DayTradingRadio.com. I'm in the office doing this. You can see the market's here. Very slow, very small range today. This is the daily chart, so you can see that candle right there is very, very small inside the previous day's candle. We had a nice breakout 2 days ago, and we followed through. We're very close to taking out all-time highs. Very, very close, and I think the consensus is we're going to get up there. We're going to maybe possibly today. I'm not saying that the day is over. It's a little after 12 o'clock, a few minutes after 12, and you know what? I actually took a little scalp here right on this pullback. I picked up some SPY calls that expired today at 33 cents, and we'll see if we actually make a run to the highs because we can maybe triple these before the end of the day. So that's an interesting trade I'm in right now. And again, as a member, like the first part I want to send out to everyone. The second part is going to have the new setups. But if you're getting this first part, to be a member, just get over to Day Trading Radio. Try out we actually have a trial, 10-day trial you could try out. And take a look at the watch list, take a look at all the indicators, the Rockbot, the Tradeometer, the chat room, all the great traders out there that are trading with us. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's move on here. When I start the thing, I always go back and take a look at the market conditions, look at each of the time frames, and point out. And one thing I point out every day is this divergence setup that we tend to get. Now, I actually see a couple interesting things here. We actually had a nice divergence right back here. You can see that divergence, dual little triangle there that represents where my formula is activating, and we had a nice little move up here. Now I started running the 5-minute divergence, tradeometer, Rockbot script to identify the 5-minute setups because those are really the most important time frames because they really determine the bigger reversals. 60-minute, you go down a little bit, a little further out. The 60 minutes, another important one, and you can just look back here. Oversold 60, big move up. Nice pullback. Oversold 60, nice move up. Nice pullback. Oversold 60, nice move up. So you can see how important that 60 period moving stochastic oscillator is. Sorry, there's so many indicators and so many things we're talking about sometimes. They cross up here. This was a nice breakout too here. So a couple things to look at here. We broke out of this pattern, this channel, popped up, pulled back on the 60, then popped back up. We're not really seeing that pullback. That's kind of we're in no man's land on a Friday right here. But with the highs just above us, I think we're very close and things are looking pretty good. But it does not a guarantee to get up there. My bet is that we do move up there. We're going to continue to look at the stocks that got us where we are. So just looking at everything right now, that 5 minute time frame. Just want to add that is now going to be an active time frame on the Rockbot. You're going to have two charts, the 1 minute, 5 minute, and you got that super signal coming. All right. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go back, take a look at some of our trades for this week. If you're a member, you get all these trades sent to you on the alert management system. So these are the alerts that go right out from when I take a trade. It gets sent right out to you. You receive it on your text message or in your email and stuff. So from yesterday, I didn't have anything up here today as I'm doing this, but we got out of our Hudson HDSN. HDSN was a very interesting stock. It was a deep throat setup. And let's take a look at it right now. Hudson Technologies. And you can see we got in back. Well, we got a call on this really pretty early. I think it was a 40-something cents, 37, 40 cents. And we got a nice pop. It went up to 60, and then it slowly moved up here. I took the rest of it off yesterday. As you can see, we had a nice trade on that. Let me get that up back on the screen there. So we made 30. I mean, basically we doubled our money. I had about 3,000 shares. I sold my final 1,000. Overnight, I did take one Broadcom long here just for a gamble, high risk gamble. Anything that says high risk earnings gamble is basically you hold into earnings. It always is a gamble when you hold into earnings. So I don't recommend that. That did not work out actually. So. But that was a gamble. Everything else here, when we dealt with the options this week, were just kicking butt. So let's go over some of these stocks that we're holding. I'm still holding the MDT, but we've been scaling out of that. And this was just a fantastic, and I considered this one, I have some people in this one long term. And this one recently broke out yesterday. We knew it was going to, we waited for a little pullback out of this. We actually traded it from here. We took it off here, pulled back a little. I waited a few days, about 5 or 6 days, got back into it. It continued just to chop around sideways. See what happened when the 20 period moved? It came down to the 20 in reverse and then broke higher. And this yesterday had actually a nice breakout, and we started taking profits into that. Today, not really much going on, but over time, you probably expect this one to continue to move higher. For whatever reason, if it did move down, look for the retracement or that breakout zone, which would be right around $100. And I'm not saying this is going down to $100. If anything, there is an underlying trend line here. It comes back to where that looks like there's a gap at 104. So maybe worst case scenario, that 104 area might come into play. But I think, it's holding strength. It's not really selling off that hard. It's just hanging around sideways. I would expect it to move back up maybe after the 60-minute rotation. And the 60-minute rotation is coming down, and we're almost oversold. Because you can see what happened here the last time the 60 got oversold. Boom, took off. 60 oversold, kind of took off. Not much, pretty much sideways. But, that's when we have the wind in our sails, basically. So we're getting to a point where the MDT should continue to push higher. I like that one long term. We still holding 3, and that's it. I started a new position in the BLL. We'll talk about that on the regular watch list. Our Alibaba, sold it for $2.34, up $1.27. So you can see we doubled our money on that. That was just holding that overnight. I'm not going to go into that chart. The Comcast has been one of the great ones. Again, doubled. We sold it at 218. We bought it at it looks like 117. And then again, 3M is something. We sold it at $8. That was up $5. That was a tremendous move here. I think we made 4 times the money on that one. And again, let's try to go back out to some of these charts. The 3M. One of my favorites, and still considered one of my favorites. It's actually looking pretty good on the hourly here. Hourly is actually looking good. The 5-minute here is kind of ramping up. And did I get back into that? I'm curious. I thought I did. It doesn't say I did. No, I didn't. I didn't get back into that. Thought I was getting back into it. I didn't pull the trigger on that. So I'm not in that one now. But it still looks great. I mean, this is one that looks excellent going into this week. I would expect it to continue to push up. 1.7, another 4 points. Pretty easy on this. And it looks like it's moving there right now. I might even have to take advantage of this. All right, back here talking about the 3M. Yeah, 3M here continue to push up here. I just made a couple alerts in the room telling people that they should, continue on here because I think we're actually trending really strong on this one. Market's been pulling off, pulling back, closing near the lows here. Look at where this is at the highs right now. Now, another one I'm seeing moving right now is AUPH here. A little volume came into it. It's been hanging in there. Again, I have a pretty big position in this one, an option. This recently popped, and now it's consolidated. This has all, we're waiting for some FDA news on this. The way it's consolidated for the last 2 years looks really good. I like that. I think we're timed properly on this, and we're going to get some news. It's going to pop to $8. It's $6.52 right now. Now, there's a much bigger price targets out there, but as we know, everyone kind of over-exaggerates. I don't like to over-exaggerate, so I think a good target on this, after all is said and done, is getting back up to, and I think I put this is on the HPS watch list, is up around that $10 level. For our first area of resistance, that's where we came up to last time. But I'm sure if the news is great and the news is really good, this thing can take off. So, I mean, overall, love it down here. Maybe we're going to see something happen here today. I see that 3M just still moving up here. And the other one, the Veru, might as well touch base on that one too. Still looks good. It came off of this divergence. It's actually just consolidating. Again, we're waiting on FDA approval on that one. And the last one, EXEL. Pretty decent candle. Starting to turn back up. A little divergent signal here. I mean, this is another one that we're just waiting on. Possible buyout news. Possible something news. I ended up buying some more calls today on this. So I have some calls. And again, $31. $31. If you are talking about a stock to be taken out or being bought out, you always look back at the previous side. I don't usually let it go for less than what it was trading the recent highs. So $31 would be a something to watch. Best case scenario. All right, I never talked about why we took the 3M down here. Well, again, we had the stochastics in our favor down here. And at this point, we're chopping around this blue line, which came down. We broke through it, came back, tested it, broke through it, came back, tested it, broke down. Now we got back above it. And that candle right there is a good candle when we came back, touched it, and then closed back up into the previous candle. Once we start holding that trend line, the integrity of that line still holds up really good because you know how good that line was? If we look back on the chart here, we go out on the weekly, you can see 1, 2, 3 tags, and now we're back above it, and you can see that one candle is holding. You have all this space up here, all this space, and it's just starting off here on 3M. It's just starting to turn back up. Looks excellent going forward. It's probably one of the best bets going into next week. All right, I just picked up some 3M here. So I picked up some calls in 3M, sent the alert out to the members. Going out, I'll let you look on the trade alert box for that. But that was that's definitely showing some good strength. And I'm still, even though the market is down here, I still think there's a shot of us getting back up here before the end of the day, even though it's 12:30. We come down to what we call a 1-2-3 pattern. This is a very interesting 1-2-3 pattern. You have one pivot here, 2 pivot, 3 pivots. So when you have those 3 pivots, you trade 4 and 5 and possibly 6. So as you can see, we just came right down to that lower trend line, but it also happened to be a pivot and also had to be the lows of the day and a double bottom. So this whole level right here, this whole level is really nice because of the multiple indicators that are lining up. And as you can see, the market reacting off of this. So again, if you wanted to take a shot on the futures, you could do that, or the calls, SPY calls, any way you want to tackle this. Sometimes the individual stocks will move if the market's moving. And again, these are scalping zones. This is a scalping zone. It's not predicting that we're going to go back up to the highs from this point, but we're predicting that we're going to have a pivot area, you're going to have a trading opportunity, and the market's going to move up from there. And you can see, now I'm going to jump over to the bot there, and the bot took that trade right there. You can see right here, it came in here, it said original gangster buy signal right there, original gangster buy signal. That's a great script that I have running there. It identifies the zone. It takes profits pretty fast. But I could always adjust that. But it's supposed to be alerting you to those pivot areas. And as you can see, it was a great pivot area here, back here, the same thing, back here, the same thing. Nice little moves on that. Fantastic action on that. So going back here, and that's where we are right now. And let's go back to our trade. So we looked at the 3M. And then we're going to go out here to Comcast. That was a trade, and we took that off. Continues to look great, though. Let's take a look at the daily. And again, another situation where you're surrounding yourself with positive stocks. These stocks here are brought to your attention. Like I said, we'll show you the strong stocks going into next week, and we'll mark those down for potential breakout plays. This one was a potential breakout play. We sold it on the gap up, but it does continue to look very strong. All right. Let's see what else we have on our list there. Man, it's such a good week in trading. I feel sad when the Fridays come. So I ended up taking some positions in Visa going out. Again, you can see the October. We sold our Roku. Let's see here. Tied to Roku. So I sold it at $3. I bought it at $2.74. It wasn't much of a trade. I just wanted to get out of it because it was showing. But we made a little profit on that, not much. And I did start some positions on our new HPS setups here. The waste management, the Visa. Look at the Bowen we had on this. Look at this. Bowen we sold. We bought at $3 and change, and we sold it at $9 and change just a couple days later. So another triple. Just amazing some of the positions we're getting here. And again, we finished off our variant. Bought that at what was that? $3.30. $3.30 we bought it. Sold it at $6, up $2.70. Scaled out the rest of that. VARs. Take a look at that chart. So you can see we just crushed it this week. Crushed it. I mean, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that everything came together. VAR. Again, this was a nice divergence setup. You had the higher low on the stochastics, the higher low on here. We had the signals. We got in, and then off to the races it went. We got out on this pop. It did pop the next day further, but we're all out of it now. We'll let it come back, repattern up. I like to see it pattern up. That's what we call it. And then from that point on, we'll possibly hit it again. But patience is just, enough research. We get that research out to you. Eventually those stocks will come to us. We'll know they end up going on the watch list because those are the best setups. And you wait from the trigger, you get in, you get the alerts to get out, and you move on. So that's the thing. So I have a lot of stocks for next week. We still, like I said, it was mentioned that we started getting into a few of them. This is an interesting one. We'll take a look at one, the waste management. A stock that's been great, but we bought into it when it was oversold on the daily and on the 60, which was yesterday. And from that point on, we have the daily 60. We got a bounce, and we continue to kind of bounce up here. The rotation's happening. It's a little consolidation at the lows right now. Nothing really going on today. It's a Friday. But knowing where to get in because of the combination of the 60 and the daily. The daily finally got oversold. You can break that down to the 5-minute also. Eventually that 5-minute would be a buy signal also back here. So you had all these things moving, and a little follow through today, and then it kind of drifted back down. But overall, like this on a pullback. Another one that we'll go over on the watch list is the Visa. Holding that 20-50 period moving average. I'll go more into that a little bit later. And I think that's it for now. That's what I want to update, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have about 20 stocks to go over for next week and see which ones are making on the watch list. So that'll take care of the first part of the watch list, and a little review of the stocks we've been trading and how well we're doing with the options. I know a lot of people are interested in the options now, seeing the return. We're just putting up a few $100s and doubling that, and not putting up, $100,000, and holding the same stocks, because it's all about being in the right stocks. The stocks that are moving. You don't want to be in, looking at $1.50 stock and saying, well, I need it to go to $3. You know how hard that is? Oh, I put $1.50 in there. That's funny. But you know what I'm saying. Just like that. Nautilus, NLS. Yeah, like Nautilus. That's $1.66. It's kind of a gamble if you get down here buying this. Bought a little of this going into the Peloton IPO and seeing if it gets any love as that Peloton IPO goes public. That bicycle, exercise bicycle. That's all the rave coming up. All right, so let's start with the other watch list. And again, if you're a member, just hold on. The next watch list will come. If you're not a member, please make your way over to Day Trading Radio. Sign up, support the site. Thank you.